Hey everyone! Hit that subscribe button because Francesca's story is about reconnecting with your body when trauma makes it feel like the enemy. Let me take you to Los Angeles, where this unfolds. Francesca was a dancer. Professional, trained since age 5, performed with a contemporary dance company in LA. Her body was her instrument, her art, her entire identity. She was disciplined, dedicated, could make movement look effortless even when it required incredible strength and control. By 26, she'd achieved what most dancers dream of: stable company work, artistic fulfillment, a career doing what she loved. Then she was assaulted. Won't go into details because that's not the story. The story is what happened after. The immediate aftermath was terrible: police, hospital, evidence collection, all the trauma of reporting. But the long-term aftermath was somehow worse. Francesca's relationship with her body shattered completely. The body that had been her tool, her art, her source of pride, suddenly it felt like a traitor. Like something that had betrayed her. Like something she wanted to escape from but couldn't. She tried to keep dancing. Showed up to rehearsals, tried to move the way she'd always moved. But she couldn't connect to her body anymore. Couldn't feel the movement from inside. It was like piloting a stranger's body, mechanical and disconnected and wrong. Her artistic director noticed. "You're technically perfect, but there's no you. There's no emotion. No connection." And Francesca knew she was right, but didn't know how to fix it. She took medical leave. Saw a therapist who specialized in trauma. Started working through the PTSD, the dissociation, the complex relationship with her body. Made progress intellectually, understood what had happened, why she felt disconnected. But understanding didn't bring back the connection. Didn't make her body feel like hers again. 3 months turned into 6. 6 months turned into a year. And Francesca started accepting that she might never dance professionally again. That the assault had stolen not just her safety but her entire career, her art, her identity. Her apartment in Silver Lake felt like a cage. Mirrors everywhere, dancers live in mirrors, but she'd covered them all. Couldn't look at her body. Couldn't stand the disconnect between what she saw and what she felt. Her dance bag sat by the door, untouched for months. A monument to who she used to be. Her therapist suggested gentle movement. Yoga, walking, anything to start rebuilding positive associations with her body. But everything felt loaded. Everything felt like dancing, which felt impossible. Francesca was stuck. Couldn't move forward, couldn't accept the loss, just existed in this gray space of dissociation and grief. Late summer, LA heat making everything feel heavy and slow. Francesca was sitting on her small balcony, rare moment of being outside, when a cat jumped up from the apartment below. A sleek black cat, young, athletic, graceful. The cat walked along the narrow railing with perfect balance, sat down, and started grooming with this meticulous attention to every part of her body. And Francesca watched, fascinated despite herself, because this cat was so completely comfortable in her body. So self-conscious. So beautifully, simply embodied. The cat noticed Francesca watching. Stopped grooming, stared at her with green eyes, then jumped onto Francesca's balcony. Just invited herself over. Started rubbing against Francesca's legs, purring. And Francesca reached down to pet her, first voluntary touch of another body in months, and felt something crack slightly. This cat trusted her. Chose to be near her. Wasn't afraid of touch or connection. Was just present. In her body. Comfortable. The cat started showing up daily. Francesca learned from her downstairs neighbor that her name was Midnight, that she was an indoor-outdoor cat who climbed between balconies regularly. The neighbor didn't mind Midnight visiting Francesca, said Midnight had good judgment about people. And Midnight did seem to judge that Francesca needed her. Would show up, demand attention, then just exist nearby. Comfortable in silence. Comfortable in presence. Comfortable in her own skin in ways Francesca envied. Francesca started moving again, inspired by midnight. Not dancing, just stretching. Simple stuff. Would sit on the floor and stretch while midnight played nearby. And watching midnight move, the way she'd pounce on toys, climb furniture, stretch luxuriously after naps, Francesca started remembering that bodies weren't just instruments or sites of trauma. They were also sources of play. Of joy. Of simple, uncomplicated movement. She started doing gentle yoga. Just for herself, no mirrors, no performance, no judgment. Just movement for the sake of feeling her body move. And some days it felt awful, triggered all the dissociation and trauma. But some days it felt okay. Felt almost good. Felt like maybe reconnect ion was possible, even if it was slow and painful and inconsistent. Midnight would join these sessions sometimes. Would stretch when Francesca stretched. Would lie on Francesca's yoga mat during Savasana. And having midnight there made it feel less lonely. Less like Francesca was struggling alone with an impossible task and more like she had a companion who understood that bodies were complicated but still worth inhabiting. About 4 months into this routine, Francesca uncovered one of her mirrors. Just one. Small one in the bathroom. And she looked at herself. Really looked. And instead of seeing a body that had betrayed her, she saw a body that was surviving. That was doing yoga and caring for a cat and breathing and existing. A body that was healing, slowly, imperfectly, but healing. And she cried. Just stood there crying at her reflection while midnight rubbed against her legs. Francesca started dancing again. Not for the company, she'd formally resigned from that, accepted that part of her life was over. But for herself. Improvisational movement in her apartment. No choreography, no performance, just expression. And midnight would watch, attentive, like an audience of one was enough. Like Francesca's movement mattered even if no one but a cat witnessed it. She started teaching movement classes for trauma survivors. Other people trying to reconnect with their bodies after assault or injury or illness. Gentle, trauma-informed movement that prioritized safety and agency and consent. Used everything she'd learned from her own healing. And her students thrived because Francesca understood what they were going through in ways that non-traumatized teachers couldn't. About 1.5 years after the assault, Francesca performed again. Not with a company, a small solo piece at a trauma survivor art show. 7 minutes of honest, raw movement about dissociation and reconnect ion and learning to inhabit your body again. Midnight was in the audience. Francesca's girlfriend brought her in a carrier. The performance wasn't technically perfect. Wasn't trying to be. But it was true. And that mattered more. Francesca told me something that stuck with me. She said, after the assault, I thought my body had betrayed me. That it was broken, useless, the enemy. But midnight showed me that bodies are just bodies. They experience things. They carry trauma. But they also heal. They also play. They also find joy. Watching midnight be so comfortably embodied reminded me that was possible for me too. That I could reconnect. That my body wasn't the enemy, it was the site of survival. And eventually, with enough patience and gentleness, the site of art again. That's the heart of trauma recovery, learning that your body, despite everything it's been through, is still yours. Still worthy of care and gentle movement and joy. That disconnect after trauma is real and valid, but reconnect ion is possible. It's just slow. It's just hard. It requires patience and support and sometimes a black cat who models comfortable embodiment. So here's my question for you, how's your relationship with your body? Are you disconnected? Dissociated? Treating your body like an enemy or a tool rather than a home? For Francesca, Reconnect Ion came through watching Midnight and slowly remembering that bodies are meant to be inhabited, not just used. What might help you reconnect? Drop your story in the comments. Tell me about healing your relationship with your body. Tell me about cats who showed you comfortable embodiment. Tell me about finding movement again after trauma made it feel impossible. Someone reading this is dissociated right now, thinks their body will never feel like home again, and they need to hear that it can. That reconnect Ion is possible. That bodies heal. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hit that like button if Francesca's story moved you, subscribe for more tales of black cats helping dancers heal, and tonight, move gently. Just a little. Just enough to remember you have a body and it's doing its best. That's enough. Until next time, remember, your body isn't your enemy. It's your home. And you deserve to feel at home there. Meow for now.